Good morning, afternoon, everyone, whatever time it is that you are tuning in to this video. I wanted to have a session today that was centered around Yin Yoga. We've done a lot of flows that are active, that are vinyasa-based flows, and I find that the two opposite ends of the spectrum, there lies Yin Yoga on one spectrum and the Yang, which is typically the flow style vinyasa yoga that we've been practicing on this channel since I started it. I don't want to lose the importance of having an active flow versus a slower flow. And I also wanted to check in with you prior to us starting this flow, just so you understand the purpose of Yin. Myself, as a power yogi, self-proclaimed, I find a very deep connection to Yin Yoga, especially as a power yogi. So I wanted to talk to you about this before we started, because I think a lot of people think of Yin as a slower, more restorative style of yoga. And I just wanted to correct that understanding that Yin is about getting into the fascia. It is about getting into the joints. It's not so much about stretching in the muscles, even though that is a benefit that you will get, but it's more about getting to those areas of the body that we cannot get to with a flow style or just with stretching. Joints don't stretch, they create space. And the only way to create space and mobility is time under tension. And that is what Yin is. You're also getting into the fascia with these long holds of poses. Fascia is that netting that holds all of our muscles in place. Think of it as when you remove that membrane from a piece of red meat or your ribs or a chicken breast. When you pull the skin back, there's still that thin layer of clear skin membrane. That is how you can think of your fascia. And with fascia, when the fascia is dehydrated or has not been worked into, you can get pain in other portions of your body that are not in the same space that your fascia is manipulated in a way that will cause you pain. So if you think about balling your shirt up here, if you have a shirt that covers your entire chest, and you squeeze and ball that part up, you're gonna get pulling here, you're gonna get pulling down here. Until you release this area, everything will be able to be released. So when you think of Yin, think about Yin as working into those areas that flow style may not get to, that your regular exercise of muscle building may not get to, or whatever style of exercise you choose. Think of Yin as giving yourself space. Okay, so we talked about what Yin does for the body. Now let's talk about what Yin does for the mind. One of my favorite things about Yin is the experience that you get by being in these challenging poses, not restorative poses, but these challenging poses in silence sometimes, maybe with slight music behind you or some sound healing of some sort. But at any rate, you are one-on-one with yourself at that mat in these poses for 2, sometimes to 5 minutes a pose. You really get into your mind. And that brings us to our theme of the month, which is self-study, Svadhyaya, know thyself. So in Yin, it's a perfect opportunity to get to know yourself, to spend time with yourself, and think of Yin in that mental capacity as confronting yourself, not necessarily soothing yourself, but being face to face with what you are capable of, pushing yourself through, and knowing that your body is capable of much more than your mind will tell you. So yin is a perfect exercise to get into underutilized spaces in the body, but also a perfect exercise to get into underutilized spaces in the mind. So as we move into this, I'm going to show you still shots of the workouts. I'm going to also actively get into these positions so that you can see them. I won't stay in them for the 2 to 5 minutes that you are required to hold them, but I will put up how long you should be in this pose. I will show you a still shot, and then I will show you how I get into the pose in maybe about 30 seconds to a minute of me holding the pose. Remember that in yin, you are to melt into the pose. So if you come in using multiple tools, know that it is okay. If it feels very comforting and comfortable to you when you come in, that's okay. But remember that yin is about confronting your edges. So if you want to remove a tool halfway through so that you can get to that edge, feel free, because that's what yin is about. Yin is about that confrontation. So starting comfortably and then moving into your edge is really what it's all about. So finding your edge and then vowing to be still. Vowing to be still is different from melting into the pose and moving tools away. Vowing to be still means no fidgeting. It means that that hip might be screaming because it's opening, and I want to, mess with my toes or check out my pedicure because I want to take my mind off of that and really give myself a second to get out of this pose. We're not doing that. We are coming in at our edge and we're staying at our edge, or we're coming in at a position that is a little more comforting and then melting into our edge. Using those minutes, the only movement that you're taking is to melt further, deeper into the pose. All right. And another thing that I'm going to be doing, giving you voiceover, giving you cues to get into the pose, and words that will help you melt deeper into the pose, words that will help you get to that meditative state in your mind so that you can really focus on that inner work. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope that yin is something that you'll add to your repertoire. If you'd like more yin videos, please comment below, leave me some questions if you have any questions, and let me know what you think about it and if it's been beneficial to you. I would love to hear about your experience. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Peace. Namaste. Cut. First pose we're entering into is pigeon pose. And as you can see, we're going in from down dog, letting one leg float, sweeping the other leg under. Shin is in line to the top of the mat. Knee should be wider than the hip. You can stay in this pose with palms on a block, forearms on the block, or coming all the way down to the mat, resting on that third eye space. Be sure to come out of the pose, taking your time, breathing, opening up the backs of the legs, and then try to do some counter poses, which you should do coming out of any yin pose. Next pose we're coming into is fire log. We're going to be doing 2 minutes on either side. The biggest thing to remember in fire log is to be stacked. You want knee over ankle, ankle over knee. And if you notice any space in between the ankles and the knees, feel free to roll up a blanket or add a block to lessen the space. Make sure you do 2 minutes on either side, being sure to do counter poses like windshield wipers in between. Next pose we're moving into is seated forward fold. This is a really good pose to open up the low back and hamstrings, placing the bolster along the legs, gripping either on the sides or the top, using a block to bring the bolster closer or just resting on the bolster. We're looking for 2 to 3 minutes in this pose, and we've got Lord of the Fishes pose as a counter pose. Taking your time on both sides of this Lord of the Fishes or whatever pose makes you feel good to release that forward fold. Next pose is forward fold. Uttanasana. We're looking to hold that for about 3 minutes, going in from down dog, walking feet to meet the hands, focusing on that hinge in the hips as you sweep up, and swan dive down, looking for that tailbone to be slightly tilted. We want that spine to be long, gravity weighing in the head. You can hold on to the backs of the legs or just swing it down long. Be sure that once you're done with this, you take some counter poses. Here I'm going to take some lunges, maybe some baby back bends, and go through on both sides just to even out. Next pose is down dog or Adho Mukha Svanasana. Down dog is a challenging pose. This is a pose where you will meet your edge. Remember to keep the back flat, staring at the knees, stay engaged, pressing those heels down, using the palms to direct the weight into the heels of the hands. Here we're going into our counter pose, which I like to do a child's pose into a cobra, but child's pose is fine. We're stretching from either corner to the right, stacking the hands, to the left, stacking the hands, and into the center. Our next pose is going to be a seated wide leg forward fold. Here I'm just showing you how to get into this pose. A great way to take this pose without finding that arch in our backs is by using the bolster. Wide legs, feet are flexed, tops of the legs are engaged, making sure that we have a nice flat spine going into counter poses of windshield wipers. Next pose is going to be supine twist using the strap, making sure that you loop that strap under the balls of the feet. As you're seated, laying back and pulling that foot up to the sky, making sure that foot is flexed and active. You're going to drop to the left and the right, switching out hands as you can see me doing in this video. Since this pose is 3 parts on each side, I suggest you do 1 minute to the left, 1 minute to the sky, and 1 minute to the right. That'll give you a total of 3 minutes. As you can see, I'm using the bolster to bring the floor closer in that twist and the block to rest my hand on. Feel free to use your tools. Remember, they're there to help you. Take your time in this pose. Maybe a counter pose of a butterfly would feel good to you. Whatever your body is calling for, remember to just give your body that gift of time in between each pose. All right, next pose we're moving into is bridge pose. Here we're just going to do a few spinal rotations, opening those hips up, getting ready to sweep around onto our backs,
Just taking some belly windshield wipers to loosen those backs up even further. And then we're going to swing those legs around and make our way into bridge. With bridge, you can use either the bolster to slide under your low back or the block on the high side where you can see it now on your left, or the medium side where I'm flipping it on its long side. You can also put it flat down on the low side, or as I said, use the bolster. We're looking to be in this position for about 2 to 3 minutes, and wherever you feel you need the most opening, place that block in that position. From here, you want to make sure that your tailbone is tilted towards the sky so that your spine is flat before you rise. And then we're going to pan around just to see my positioning. Feet are flat, pointed to the top of the mat or the bottom of the mat. Palms are flat, shoulders are away from the ears, and neck is long. And I am breathing, of course. Taking some really yummy counter poses, Apanasana egg shape, or a supine pose, whatever you need to really loosen that back up. Apanasana is great to release that arch from the bridge. Next pose we're moving into is yogi squat or malasana. Very challenging. We're looking for 2 to 3 minutes in this pose. Make sure that you take a counter after this, please, and take your time. I'm going to show you one with the block and without in that first graphic. And then here, I'm sliding the block under just so you can see how that should look.